Good morning. I hope you guys are ready to get started. Today we're going to do a foundation routine so you guys can see how I prep my face and how I keep my foundation staying flawless all day long. I've been asked several times on what exactly I'm doing, what exactly I'm using. As you can see, I do not have perfect skin, but in your application and in your process of putting on foundation, you can make it stay all day long. So let's get started. What you do is make sure you've prepped your face, make sure you've cleansed with your favorite Anew cleanser, and get all the oils off your face. Then of course you want to replenish that, so use your favorite daytime moisturizer from Avon. I like to use either the Skin Invincible or, believe it or not, I like to use my CC cream, which has SPF 50 in it, and that kind of also helps with the steps when it comes to foundation. I don't have to use as much. So do one or the other. And also I like to use my eye lift. This is super, super important. I do have some puffiness, and I've got a little redness, and my eye lift cream. If you have not used this yet, it's two-part. You want to put the cream part under the eye and over the top. I do use both. And then the gel part you want to use and tap above to lift the brow. And if you've never used this before, you are missing out. This stuff is amazing. You actually feel almost like the lifting happening. You can use this twice a day, but I like to use it and make sure it's fully dry before you do your makeup, because you do not want your shadows. If you use too much too, you can end up with like a peeling effect. So you just want to use like a tap of it and use your ring finger and just tap it up. I've already done it, so we won't repeat that step. So let's go ahead and get started. I've got my makeup drawers here, and I should have probably pulled everything out. Again, I'm going to start with the CC cream, and I use the medium, and I am just going to use my fingers for this. Now, sometimes I will use a beauty blender, but since I'm using this morning like my moisturizer, I'm going to go ahead and just apply to the different parts of my face. So I've got some redness there, so this will take care of that. And this also helps with like a really nice luminous finish, but again, I mostly use this for the SPF 50. Now, if you have Skin Invincible and you like that, or you use your regular moisturizers, just make sure you're using your sunscreen, because sunscreen is so very important. So just get it even, and if you feel like you need to blend that down into your neck, then you can do so. Okay, nice even coat. Now another thing that I like to do, and I'll give you more tips on lips on another day, but I like to put on a lip moisturizer before I complete my makeup look. So now if you are extremely sensitive to SPF, be really careful around your eyes so that it doesn't burn you. Most of the time I do try to stay away. Today I kind of did it. Just be careful, and that way if you are out sweating or you get water on near your eyes, it doesn't drip into your eyes and cause you burning. So now I'm going to use my Ideal Flawless, and this is in cream beige. Now there's two ways that you can do this. You can either wet a beauty blender, which we are getting new beauty blenders from Avon. Thank you, Avon. But of course we didn't have them yet when I bought this one. So this one is just from Sephora, and it is the professional one. So you can wet this and then squeeze out the excess water, and then I like to squirt a little bit of this either in the palm or on the back of my hand, and then kind of warm it up and then blot in and do it that way. That's one way. The other way that I found to be really effective in giving you an airbrush finish is to use a foundation brush. Now I know all my Avon friends are going, that's not an Avon brush, Lisa, what are you doing? The foundation brush that Avon has is this one. And Avon, I love you. However, for this is good for maybe dotting on the face and putting your foundation on. But for blending purposes, I don't prefer this brush. I'm sorry, again, if you're wanting to just dot it on, that's great, but it's the fibers and it's not flat enough to be able to push it into the skin. So this one is from Makeup Geek. I am not sponsored. This is not, she's not paying me to say this. I've had this for years. I love this brush. It's very flat, so you can just tap it in and then get a very airbrush finish. So I will show you with the brush today, and another makeup tutorial, I'll show you what the difference is with the beauty blender. Either or is great. And if your fingers, like to use your fingers, that's fine too, if you feel more comfortable. It's just, if you've never tried a beauty blender or you've never done a brush, I encourage you to go for it and try it, and you'll be surprised that not only it doesn't get all over your fingers, it really does give you a different finish. So again, start with that. Also, if you are very oily, you saw me use the CC cream. I have very dry skin. So this not only gives me my SPF, it also gives me a little bit more of a luminous finish as I'm completing my foundation. You can do the Avon Magic's Face Perfector. And I love this product also. It's got SPF 20. And then of course in our foundation, I believe this also has SPF 15. So you're getting both. But this is great for those that have larger pores or oily skin. You want to apply this first. It also gives your something for your makeup to adhere to. So it helps it last longer. I don't always use this again because I have drier skin and I don't really have big pores. I prefer to just use my BB cream and then I use this and then I can always set it with powder. So we're going to go ahead and get started. So again, squirt a little bit on the back of your hand. You don't need a lot and you can always build upon your foundation. If you start out with way too much, you're going to have a cakey look and it's going to look like you're wearing foundation. So you want it to look as natural as possible. You want to make sure that it's blending into the neck. Of course, we're always whiter under here. The sun doesn't touch there. So I'm going to tap it in and you want to warm it up on the back of your hand. So I'm going to tap that in and get that going. And we're just going to start on one side so you can see the difference. So, and I like to go over my lid. And that is entirely up to you because you can always use our primer. And with that, I do use Mark's Please Hold on that, and that is their primer. So I just want you to see just that. Okay, I only did half the face. And you can already see that freckles, redness, under our eye circles already are disappearing. You see the difference? I have some breakouts going on here. Yeah, I'm being very bold here. Okay, and my foundation is more in the yellow tones, the cream beige. For me, just seems to match really well. Okay, so there's the difference. Let's go ahead and match it up on the other side. Again, just a couple squirts. You don't need a lot. If you're using this again or the Beauty Blender, tap it in. Okay, and I like to start center of the face and work your way out. Usually that's where most of us are red as well, is around the nose, around the eyes. And you just tap it in. And I'm going to use my little mirror here because trying to look into the camera, I can't see if it's blending well. So, and just buff it in, and that pushes it right into the pores and can give you that airbrush look. Now, if you get it on your brows, which I'm known to do, just go ahead and take a paper towel or something softer for your skin, like a rag, and just wipe off your brows. So I'm just going to use paper towel because it is just for my brows, and I'm going to get off the excess that might have gotten on the brows themselves, because we're okay. You can see already that from when I should do before and after shot so you guys can see. So this is after with just foundation. We haven't even done concealer yet. And then of course you can do your concealer. So that's how I get the foundation going. And then you can use your favorite concealer. So if you like the extra lasting, this is always good. You want to not use too light of a shade. If you do too light of a shade, you're going to look, you know, they want it to be a little bit lighter in here for highlight and contour, but if you do too light, it's going to just look, it's going to exaggerate your issues of dark circles and whatnot. So picking a shade, especially if you have like a blemish, a lot of people make the mistake with the blemish to use like a lighter shade, and all that does is bring it out instead of bringing darker colors, push it back. So using a little bit of a darker shade on blemishes can help it disappear. And then you can use this to brighten up, but just make sure if you're doing lighter that you are blending, because if you don't, you're gonna end up with a raccoon eye and it's gonna look just like white circles on there. So you can choose to set this, because this video again is just going to be on foundation. You can choose to set this with translucent, and I like the translucent, or you can use your powder. It's up to you. I like to do translucent and just kind of dust it off. I also recommend that if you are getting older, such as myself, and you're starting to have fine lines and wrinkles, not to go crazy with powder, because all it's going to do is settle into the fine lines and wrinkles and make it look worse. So I don't particularly use a lot of powder. Again, I'm not oily. If you are oily, then you definitely need to use your Magics, and you need to go ahead and do your foundation and then apply light powder. And when you do your powder, stay away from the eye area. If your eyes also are oily and they tend to get oily during the day and not hold your eye makeup, then check out the Mark. And this is the Please Hold. And you can put this on your lids. And I'll just show you. It's just pretty, it looks like a concealer. It's kind of got a luminous. But that way when you do your eye makeup, it's going to help hold that. You see the difference? It's a little bit lighter, and it kind of helps if you have veins or darkness. It brightens all that up, and it makes the canvas for your eye makeup really great. So that's how I prep my skin. You can see the difference. One eye, this eye doesn't have it, this eye does. It's a little bit brighter. And then, like I said, if you are going to do your concealers, you can do your concealers. Now, another thing about concealer is that sometimes it's good to do your eye makeup actually before doing all the foundation. That is entirely up to you. In that way, you can clean up, especially if you're doing a darker look where you might have some fallout, then it's kind of good to do that. But if you did your foundation first and you find that after you do your eye makeup that you have some fallout, really simple to fix, guys. It's just makeup. It's supposed to be fun. Go ahead and get a little bit more concealer or foundation and just take it under the eye and just tap it and clean up your edges and clean up the bottom, and you will be just fine. So basically this is it. This is how I start the canvas, and then I go from there with my blushes and foundations, and I'll bring you another video to show you how we do that. Have a wonderful day. I hope this helps. See ya. Bye.